And welcome back to the Hot Lap. Let's talk Mercedes. Let's talk 2024. Let's talk Mercedes winning in 2024. Let's be an optimist if you're a Mercedes fan. So they pretty much got completely trashed by Red Bull in 2022 and 2023. Very close, obviously, as we know in 2021. But let's not get into that. And let's talk Mercedes. So Russell, 2024 car will not be rushed according to Russell, which may well have been a problem for the last couple of years. I guess he's going to have a lot better knowledge than us. But also, Hamilton back to win in 2024. Will we have Hammer Time properly back this year? And Mercedes apparently changing everything, literally nearly every part in their new car for this year. But let's get into it. This is from motorsport.com, and Mercedes 2024 car won't be as rushed as last year. So Russell is saying he's confident Mercedes will not fall its design traps, let's say. Remember, the no pods 2 years in a row has to go with its 2024 Challenger, as it did a little bit with its rushed W14 design, he says. Mercedes, as we know, made a surprise call to continue, much to the eyebrow raising of a lot of people, in 2023 with their zero pod design. And as we know, it wasn't very successful. And Mercedes, once realising that, swiftly moved to abandon that approach once the W14 was revealed to be badly off the pace in the 2023 test. I think that's the most sour most of us have seen from Toto Wolff's face. Now, it is updated with a very much a Red Bull downwashed side-pod concept at the Monaco Grand Prix. And Toto Wolff saying there's almost every component that's being changed, because only by doing that, I think we have a chance in 2024, he's indicated. These changes, Wolff said, would cover how we laid out the chassis, the weight distribution and the airflow. Now, speaking to select media, including motorsport.com, Russell has said he's more confident going into this winter break because Mercedes has been working on the new W15 concept for a long time. There's been so much due diligence, he said, that has gone into the concept. Whereas I think last year it was a little bit rushed, he added. We didn't have all the information to hand. We may have jumped to a couple of conclusions without thoroughly going through the consequences. And he said, and we learned when the car hit the ground this year that we made a step forward in some regards, but it came with a lot of baggage and we hadn't taken that into consideration. And Russell went on to say, I think we've done a great job to truly understand what we need. We've obviously had a further 12 months to experience to further understand the car and what essentially brings the performance. I think last year we'd put all our eggs in that one basket, and that wasn't a basket that provided the performance we were expecting. Pretty much talking about the zero pods again. But the fact is, we've got to close a huge gap. The Red Bull performance this year is probably the greatest. I think statistically it's the most dominant car ever. So we've got a huge task on our hands, but I'm going into next year with an open mind. I don't think anyone's expecting either us, McLaren, Aston Martin or Ferrari to make that step straight away, but I'm confident we won't fall into the same traps that we did last year. So I'm glad, Russell, ever the optimist going into 2024. I guess you would be though, wouldn't you? Hoping your team can come out with, if not a championship winning car, let's just hope and have our fingers crossed that it is a race winning car. And that's what someone is backing Lewis Hamilton. This is from gpfans.com. And essentially it says, Formula One pundit Lawrence Barretto has predicted that Hamilton will return to winning ways at Mercedes, but another world championship will remain out of his grasp. I think that's a fairly sensible prediction. Now, a season without Mercedes winning a single F1 race would have been unthinkable a few seasons ago, it starts. Yet that's the reality that Hamilton, Russell and Toto Wolff faced after 2023. So Russell's triumph in 2022 was their sole victory, essentially one victory in 2 years. Not good enough, Mercedes. So Barretto, though, believes Hamilton could be set to return to the very top after what he saw as the 38-year-old outperforming that W14 last year. He was one of the MVPs. I think he was our second best driver of the year in total, because I do not think that Mercedes deserved to be second in the championship. So Hamilton to win a race in 2024. The 2023 campaign, Barretto went on to say, was a far better one for Hamilton, as while he didn't score a win for the second year in a row, the seven-time champion did get more out of his silver arrows than it really deserved to secure that P3. And he said that he was in the fight for P2, which would have meant beating one of the all-conquering Red Bulls for much of the year, showed how much fight he still has. He says there are flashes of his brilliance at best too, such as his sensational pole in Hungary, remember that, and his drive to second in Austin. Obviously got disqualified though, didn't he? And he went on to say that Mercedes have finally abandoned this concept that has made the first 2 years of the latest rule cycle an abject misery. But Hamilton believes the team finally have a North Star that he will hope can yield a return to form. And he said, I expect Hamilton, who will start the first of a new 2-year deal next season, to revel in a car that the team hope is more drivable, predictable, and importantly, faster. Now, while a championship fight is almost certainly out of the question, Barretto says, that kind of a step should end its 2-year absence for a 2-year absence for a victory. Absolutely brilliant. If that's the case, fantastic. Let's hope so. And a bit more on that complete change. I mean, we've already commented on it. This is from racefans.net, and in the news roundup, Toto said Mercedes are changing their entire car for 2024, and as we know, they finished second. And Toto has indicated that we are completely moving away from how we laid out the chassis, the weight distribution, the airflow. Literally, there's almost every component that's been changed, because only by doing that, I think we have a chance. You could also get it wrong. I think if Mercedes want to beat Red Bull, they can't play safe. They are playing risky. I completely get it. They know their zero pod concept didn't work. They know, because their car was designed with that zero pod concept for 2023, getting that change when they went more to like the Red Bull idea of stuff, it was still a compromise. And both George and particularly Lewis were not happy with the back of the car, the rear of the car, the suspension of the car. And by doing that, it was like they were not confident. The most confident I think I saw Hamilton was, funny enough, when they got disqualified. I don't know how much the the low downforce helped. Not the low downforce, the low ride height, sorry. But that's probably the best we have seen Hamilton. So it's going to be really interesting going into 2024. We've got testing now, I think, in less than 50 days at the time we're recording this. Roll on 2024. Roll on the hot... I'm trying not to... Oh, dear me. I need a drink. I can't find a drink. I'm going to end it there before I pass out on air. Please subscribe. Thank you very much. I reply to all your comments. So thank you for liking, subscribing. Just watching is enough for us. See you next time when I hopefully don't have this cough.